American Sign Language, or ASL, is a primary language for the deaf and hard of hearing. ASL is most notably expressed by facial expressions, hand shapes, movement, and placement of the hands. Before learning any language, even sign language, you have to immerse yourself in the culture. Hello, my name is Megan Roderick, and on today's episode of Culture Shock, we are diving into American Sign Language. We will explore the rich culture and history of the deaf community. Plus, later, we will learn some actual sign language from the president of the Deaf Education and American Sign Language Club at Hofstra University. But first, let's dive into the history of ASL, which starts way back in the 1700s on a small island off of Massachusetts.
That small island is known as Martha's Vineyard. At one time, 1 out of every 4 people on the island were deaf, and because of that, the entire island communicated in sign. However, when Alexander Graham Bell did a study on the island, he concluded that deafness required fixing. But in 1817, Thomas Gallaudet and Laurent Clerc combined Martha's Vineyard sign with French Sign Language to create American Sign Language. And by 1864, Gallaudet University was founded, and it's the world's only liberal arts university for the deaf and hard of hearing. Gallaudet University has inspired many to use the arts as a medium of expressing their deafness and combating social injustices. Artists like Harry R. Williams in his piece My Eye expresses the need for the deaf community to step out of the limitations and boundaries placed upon them and truly see the world. Theater and poetry are visual art forms popularized in the deaf community. Gallaudet holds shows year-round, performed completely in sign, and poet Clayton Valley, in his piece Dandelions, uses the stigma surrounding the weed as a metaphor for the repression of the deaf community. Years of pain from repression have now inspired festivals, bringing large crowds of deaf and hard of hearing individuals together, finally giving them a place to freely express and celebrate their deafness.
As we just saw, the culture and history of ASL is based on a community of art, poetry, theater, and festivals. So now you might be wondering, how does the ASL history that you just saw translate into the reality of being a deaf person in America today? To find out more, we sat down with a member of the deaf community here in Long Island, New York, to discuss their experiences living in a hearing world.
Oh, it's always being part of the deaf community. I grew up in a deaf school, so I've been part of the deaf community since like I was a child. There was nothing that was about my life that was sad. I went to socials, I went to parties, I did all sorts of sports, softball. I was all part of the deaf world and the hearing world at the same time. My personal life, I really can't answer. It's the same. I have the hearing community and I have the deaf community, and I feel like they're the same. I feel like they match, and I feel like there's no difference for me in growing up. Good question. A long time ago, now it's different because of technology, but a long time ago, yeah, there was a lot of deaf clubs and deaf socials, and it was only deaf people. But now a lot of people know ASL, and now there's more hearing people that became involved. And now technology, oh my gosh, technology, the advances of technology have really helped everybody. And I feel like the hearing world is definitely more involved.
Now that we have taken the time to learn about the culture behind the deaf community, we can begin to learn ASL in some phrases. I'm here with Emily Ruthven, the president of the Deaf Education and American Sign Language Club at Hofstra University in Long Island, New York. Hello, Emily, and welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
So, I'm really excited that you're here. I'm excited to learn some ASL. Do you think you could teach me how to introduce myself?
Yeah, so in ASL you would say my name and then you would fingerspell it.
Mm-hmm.
So my is flat palm on the chest.
Yep.
And then name, you tap 2 fingers together, name. And then fingerspelling for you, that would be M,
Yep.
E, A, G, H, A, N.
All right, awesome. So what are some common phrases that you use on a daily basis?
So if you see someone, you're like, hey, how are you? How are you?
Okay.
Or if more casual, what's up?
Okay.
And if you're responding to that, be good, like yeah, flat palms, and
Yep.
then bad, you flip it.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Yeah. That's just what college life is like. So, what would you say your favorite sign is?
I really like the sign for turtle because it's so cute.
Oh, that is adorable. If our viewers at home wanted to learn ASL, how do you think the best way to go about that would be?
So the internet is your friend. You can Google classes that are near you. And also, as with every single language, you want to get immersed in the language in order to learn it.
All right, of course. Well, thank you for teaching me some American Sign Language today. If you would like to learn more about the culture and language of the deaf community, you can go to www.nad.org. Thank you for joining us today. Tune in to next week's episode of Culture Shock, where we'll dive into the German language and culture.